Live in 2. All right, guys, are we about to hit a turning point in the classic car market? We've got predictions and we've got results from our last predictions. This is Bid Nerds. The bidding starts now. Nerds! Bid Nerds is your YouTube car game show. All right, guys, we are doing it live here. Check it out. We've got a full studio, the Rami studio in the Container Park in downtown Las Vegas. My name is John Polnik, coming to you live with everyone in the studio. We've got Rami in the middle there. What's up, Rami?
What's up? How you doing, JP? It's good to be here tonight.
Glad to have you in the can. And then we've also got my partner, Michael Deeb, who is here in Las Vegas, not in San Francisco. What's up, Michael Deeb?
So good to be back in Vegas. We're in the Rami studio, and there's the Rami.
Right here.
Yeah. Aptly named. So, and it's full house. We got Andy and Buddha in audience. And I'm so flattered everybody came out while I'm in town, and this is going to be super fun. JP, some weird results to talk about tonight. This is going to be, we might actually learn something today, so let's see what happens.
Let's give it a shot. All right, so there's a lot going on in the car market right now. What we're noticing in the normie car market, right? Like we're talking about Fords and Stellantis cars and Hondas and stuff. Most normal cars, the car market has reached the point of inventory. There's probably about 300 days of inventory out there in the car market, which is about what it used to be back in 2019 before everything went crazy. There are about 3.9 million used cars in inventory, and we are just about to roll into 2025, and a lot of manufacturers are going to be hitting the dealerships with even more new cars. That's going to definitely put some downward pressure on the value of normie cars and used cars. But will it affect the classic car market? Boy, looking at some of the results, it doesn't seem like it. It seems like if you're looking for a normal car, the prices are going to keep going down. But classic cars, I don't know. Let's take a look at the results of the listing predictions that we made on the last episode, and let's get to it. Have we hit a turning point? Yeah, you want to hop in there with
Well, JP, you brought up a really interesting point about the inventory, and a lot of manufacturers are feeling pressure to cut. I don't know if you've read up anything about Nissan. Is like they're on fumes right now. Yep. They've got like 3 months to make cuts and keep the brand alive globally. It's not a U.S. or a North American problem. They've got an international problem. Their product is stale. Nobody's buying it. And this is this is Renault's wife. Renault, the French manufacturer, and Nissan. They're their own little conglomerate. I hit the wire. Sorry, bad. But anyway, they're feeling a lot of pressure, and it would be really interesting to see a brand that I think we've taken for granted most of our lives just possibly vanish and be done unless somebody comes in from India or China and tries to bail them out while they're in receivership, or India. Sorry.
You have to say India.
Yeah. So there you go. Could Nissan change the isn't there a red dot in the Nissan logo? Can we just
they need to get a bunch of
it's a fact.
It's a branding thing.
Yeah, they need to get a bunch of trans guys on a TV commercial and
with dots
and name it back to Datsun. Maybe that'll save the company.
JP, I've got a trivia question. Do we know what the ad agency is that is running this Jaguar thing and that is now an international meme? Like, this ad company must be just fielding calls like crazy because, like it or hate it, everybody is talking about it. That company has just raised their rate by double, right? John, you know advertising.
No, not at all. Look. I think everyone talks about the idea of, and I'm so sick of this Jaguar conversation. Obviously, it's my bad for bringing it up. It's been beaten to death. But they used to say that there's no such thing as bad publicity, but that's back in the day when there were 3 channels, right? And there were only it's the same reason that we just saw the way the election just changed a lot of things. People can look on their phone and tell that they've been lied to over and over and over and over and over again. And this idea that no such thing as bad publicity, will tell that to Budweiser, tell that to Tractor Supply, tell that to Target, tell that to all the companies that have had their butts burned by not listening to their customers. I think Jaguar is in a lot of trouble, but they didn't need this commercial to make things bad for them. They're like all the brands out there there are a lot of brands in trouble that you obviously mentioned it, Deeb, Nissan, but what about Stellantis, all the brands that they cover?
Correct.
I mean, some of those dealerships still have 2023 models on the lot. Some of the cars that Stellantis sells, they have 500 days plus of inventory.
Good God.
That's crazy. I was
Can
going to
you
bring
imagine?
it up. JP, you killed my steam. I was going to bring
Oh,
up Stellantis.
sorry. Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. I mean, they have so much of it. Why do you think people go down that road? The road of woke. What is going through their minds?
Well, I don't think it was woke that hurt Stellantis. I think it was just Stellantis basically, like a lot of manufacturers, when they were seeing really high profits, when they were selling specifically high, like, look, when there was the whole chip shortage and used car shortage and everything, and car shortage in general, the dealerships, it used to be, nothing's really changed. We're just back to the way it used to be. When you would reach the end of the year,
Yes.
$50,000 trucks usually had $15,000 rebates at the end of the year when
That's
the next run came in. But for a couple of years, that didn't happen, and now everyone's losing their mind like something's changed. We're just back to normal. The problem was that because when there were those shortages, the manufacturers weren't making inexpensive trucks. They weren't making inexpensive cars. They were basically only making the high spec vehicles because they were grossing on those, meaning they could get, that's the amount of, they could, if there's a Ford F-150 with, roll up doors and no air conditioning, they can get $50,000 for that. If they've got one that's got power seats and power everything and nav and all the different gizmos, they can get $110,000 for it, or at least they could there for a couple of years. So why would they bother building the cheap ones when it takes as much time on the assembly line as the more expensive ones? So they were just choosing to only make the expensive cars that they could gross out of. And I know we're talking about, this is all new car industry stuff, and normie cars. We talk about classic cars and collector cars. What's the difference between these new cars and the classic cars? You can't just go to the classic car store or classic car factory and say, all right, we need 100,000 78 911 SCs that everybody wants for $40,000.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist anymore, right? So that's the difference. That's why the classic car market, even though we're seeing normal cars going down in value, or at least being pushed down because of the increase in supply, you're not going to increase the supply of classic cars. There's only so many, and in fact, they're getting fewer and fewer because people drive them, they get squished. So that's my take on it. What do you guys think?
That was a big take.
That was a lot more than we wanted to get into.
Take up
but it's
off
not
the
like,
show.
it's not like the Stellantis thing was hard to see coming. That was like, it's not like the Titanic hit a hidden iceberg.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like they hit a continent. Like, how did you not see this coming, guys?
Yeah.
You can't. Anyways, all right, let's get into classic cars. Let's get into the predictions that we made on the last episode and see how that relates to possibly a big turning point in the classic car market. What was the first car on the list, Michael Deeb?
All right, JP. The first couple of cars we're going to circle back to are kind of specialty cars. They're not your typical classic cars. The first one that we're going to check in on, JP, is the 2004 Subaru Impreza WRX STI that was converted into a race car that was run in period by two American icons. Both Ken Block and Travis Pastrana have rallied this car. So beautiful car, totally gutted, roll cage, the rally lights, all the suspension and works and stuff like that. It's got a Monster Energy wrap on the car. And of course, the provenance is that these two legends of America, one of them, Ken Block, has passed away. So their names attached to this car make it very interesting. Now, JP, we looked at this car and kind of got into it. We talked about how this car was getting a lot of buzz for running on Doug DeMuro's site. And we wondered if the buzz would translate to, a real retail number for an unusual car. Now, actual factory rally cars from that era are around $270,000. This is a street car that was converted. Basic street cars from that era that are non-converted are just $27,000 cars, literally a tenth the value. So we're talking about a street car that was converted to race and then raced by people that are, American heroes, for lack of a better term. So, John, very difficult to guess the value on this. When we looked at the car, I think it was sitting at around $75,000 with a couple of days to go on Cars and Bids. John, watching the action, listening to the buzz, having that car petitioned to us by Anthony Vieira at Hoursmiths out of Idaho, I thought that car could bring another 50 and had a chance to hammer for $125,000. And at that number, I thought it had a good chance to sell. John, you took the under at just $99,000 and thought that it might not sell if it got to that number. Or you did think it would sell, and I thought that if it only hit 99, it wouldn't. And so I kind of jumped onto your bid and tried to extract something from your number because it's a good take. So, Rami, now you've probably seen this car, this monster rally car. Again, not a factory car, but the cool American guys drove this car and raced it. It's on Doug DeMuro's site, gets a lot of buzz. Without looking at the result, what do you think that car would have hammered for getting a good lead up before the hammer?
Yeah, I mean, it's got great provenance, and the car's cool.
Yeah.
And it was driven by Ken Block. And, I mean, you remember the turnout on the strip for Ken Block. It was
Absolutely.
crazy. There were
They fucking love him.
I mean, we had gridlock for hours. People love him. So, I mean, I would go a little higher and say it's going to go for 150.
That's and some of the guesses that we got from the Nerd Herd were in that range because again, sky's the limit on a car with incredible provenance, and there's not another car like it that those two guys both raced, and they're the best. Yeah,
I mean, come on.
So JP, were you as surprised as I was that our car hammered for just $85,000 where it failed to sell on 23 bids?
What?
Basically, when we looked at it at 75, it really didn't go much further in the final hours of the auction, flamed out and didn't sell. 85 is arguably pretty close to your 99, and I really didn't think that somebody would let this car go for under 100. So one, were you surprised by the result? Two, where do you turn with a car like this? You know, I mean, like you can't go to bring a trailer and ask them to give you another 6-figure reserve when you couldn't make 85 on Doug DeMuro's and arguably Jalopnik and all the likes. Everybody's talking about the car. So like, what do you do with a vehicle like this? Do you wait and bring it back to a live auction or hope to negotiate, like hire a broker and try to get a private sale? I mean, this by not letting that car go or not doing a better job getting it sold, I don't know, maybe the engagement. Do you have any issue with the way it was presented or the assets? I mean, it's just kind of a bummer, but I feel like the owner of this car has kind of a firm grip on it for at least a year. I can't imagine this car coming back to market in just a couple of months and then doing a lot better than that. So what do you think, John? Unpack this for us.
Yeah, I don't think that cars that have a connection to a famous person ever really live up to the hype. Everyone seems to think, oh, if it was Michael Jordan's car or Jack Nicholson's car or somebody's car, that's going to somehow bring mad extra money. Maybe sometimes it brings a little bit of a premium, maybe a couple percent. And I know that there was an example of that expensive ones before, but I said it on the last episode, I don't get the whole Ken Block fanboy thing. I don't understand why he is automotive Jesus. I do not, I don't care. I just don't freaking care. But look, clearly people disagree with me. Kelp Yelp Help on the YouTube machine on our last episode, he commented, "You guys are wildly uneducated regarding the Ken Block car. Like, why would you even speculate without knowledge? Have you seen our show? That's all we do is speculate without knowledge." So welcome to the Nerd Herd. Kelp Yelp Help. If you read the ad for the car, it gives many more details that you seem to be guessing about. Yeah, we never do that either. Rally cars need to be street legal in order to compete. Additionally, it was built by Vermont Smith. Blah blah blah. Who cares? I just don't care about Ken Block, and clearly, neither did anyone else. The fact that this car got up to $85,000 or whatever it failed to sell at, that's, what did you say, Deeb? Twice as much or more than what this car, than if it didn't have Ken Block's name. So I think at that number, it did get a bunch of hype. I'm totally wrong. People will pay twice, 3 times as much for a car when it has a name attached to it. The idea that it's going to get 10x. I mean, it wasn't Steve McQueen's car. Rami, what do you think?
I mean, it's not Paul Walker's car, right? So yeah, I understand that. But JP, you know what? I have advice for the guy who has the car: keep it and drive the crap out of it.
Yeah.
It's an awesome car, and I also think Americans hate Subarus. Like, you go to Europe, people drive the 4-bangers everywhere. They love it, but Americans like, it's 4-cylinder, I don't want it. And it's too slow, and it has a standard, it's manual. Like, Americans we're so lame. We went from being like the coolest country in the world. Now we're like electric and automatic and I want safety features on my car. Does that lower my insurance? I'm like, what the hell happened? So that's my 2 cents.
That's a lot of sense. You go to a car show, like not like a car show like we throw, but like the International Auto Show in whatever convention center in whatever city that you live in, right? Tacoma, or Portland or LA or whatever. And you've got the soccer moms walking around. All the Karens are like, "What's the?" I can't do the Rami little Karen voice. What's that?
Spokane.
Spokane.
In Spokane, they're like, trying to figure out, does the GPS work well with my phone? And that's all they they really care about. They don't care about how much power or whether or not it has a manual or any of that kind
How
of
much
stuff.
headroom?
Does it have Apple CarPlay?
How much headroom for my Labrador in the back of the car?
Does
You
it
know?
have rear seating? Third row?
I'm like, oh God.
All right. So the question is, does this prove some kind of turning point in the classic car market? Or do you think, guys, I think this is a great result as far as the number. I'm just shocked that I think the seller just got hyped. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. And let's move on to the next car to see if it helps us answer the question, are we about to reach a turning point in the classic car market? What do we got, Deeb?
All right, JP. We are going to circle back to the Beck GTS lightweight that I selected for us on Bring a Trailer. This is the car that you were going to push on Rami.
Yes.
That Rami.
Guy right
the
there.
Rami. The car was listed by Willie's Boy on a Westlake Village, California. JP, there's a fact that I don't think I caught on, but we've been talking about post-Hammer, and that this was Beck's personal car. And you might have said it, but I was probably reading, and it kind of that thing was lost on me. The fact that it's his own personal car makes it even that much cooler, because obviously no expense spared, and he did, like I said, I knew that the car had been developed and was tuned to perfection. But the big news, John, is that they took a 2007 Metzger 3.6 and fit it into a 904 replica, and then did the suspension and the wheels and the tires and everything to match. This car is developed, tuned, and shook down, as they used to say. The break-in in France, they call it rodage, the break-in mileage. It's all done.
Rodage.
This is a cool effing car, and JP, it would have been awesome if Rami had an interest in it. Super cool car, 915 gearbox. Believe it or not, JP, they ripped off the ITBs, and they're running this thing on a 4-barrel carburetor, like your mom's V8, you know, like in the center of that boxer block in the back of the car. I still can't wrap my brain around that. But the performance envelope on this car has to be insane. And I kind of dig the sort of light blue metallic and the silver tub. These big Boyd 17-inch wheels don't look out of place. They look like vintage Steelies or vintage, magnesium wheels from in period. I really dig this car, JP. And we thought, because it's so special and so unusual and so developed, and now the provenance that it's Beck's personal 904, it would seem like sky's the limit. JP, with that in mind, Classic.com does not have 904 numbers. They do on the Speedsters, or the RS Spiders. But Classic doesn't have a number for Beck lightweight GTSs. So, John, I just shot first. I said $165,000 because, it's basically $150 to buy a kit, and it's another 60 to 80 grand for a Metzger. You'd be hard pressed to rebuild this car for $250. So 165 seemed like a good value to me. JP, you took the over at $185,904. Rami, knowing that you would have to wait a year and you'd spend $100 on the motor and $150 on the kit, and then probably $100 to build this thing with the suspension, all the stuff he did to it. What do you think this car would have hammered for running on Bring a Trailer with studio assets? The car looked really good.
Right.
And the videos, it turns out the guy that's hosting the 2 videos is Beck himself, which obviously I didn't watch one, but now I've come to learn it was his car. What more would you ask for? It's like having Juan Valdez pour you a cup of coffee,
With the donkey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, with Jake from State Farm.
Yeah, Jake from State Farm, exactly. No, I mean, the car is really cool, but it's definitely an older generation car. Mm-hmm. Like younger generation people don't want that car. They might not know what it is.
True.
And, even middle-aged guys would be like, what is that? I don't know. I think it'd probably go for like 140.
140?
Yeah.
Not a bad number.
Yeah.
Not a bad number.
And I like it a lot, but I think the carburetor is weird. It's just weird.
Absolutely.
It's bizarre. Yeah. Like you've got a GT3 motor, just leave it. It's great.
Yeah. I wonder if they were constrained by space, because you would think they would at least do like an old long hood and have two 3-choke, Webers or something like that, or PMOs or whatever. To keep up with that, because ITBs are going to feed fuel lightning fast. A 4-barrel is going to slow down the process. So while we were thinking this could be a 450 horsepower plus uncorked, you're actually restricting it by how fast it can drink. It's like trying to get a racehorse to drink through a McDonald's straw. It's not enough. It's not enough. So I wonder if it's really just 350 or 400 horsepower, but still revs to 9,000 RPM.
Right, but it's party pieces of the lightness, right?
Right.
It's 1,500 pounds, right? Isn't that what you said?
Oh, my God, yeah. Totally. So even though with a radiator in the front, it's still unbelievably light. It's less than 2,000 pounds.
That's crazy. And it's all fiberglass, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Amazing. So, JP, were you as surprised as I was when this car hammered for just $135,000, which I would say is a massive disappointment,
Wow.
It's sold for that number. 43 bids, 135, and the car is gone. JP, I wept a little. That is a screaming deal.
Yeah.
That is a screaming deal. I'd live with a 4-barrel for 135. Good God Almighty. That seems like an unreal.
No, go ahead.
Oh yeah, $135,000, JP. That's right in between 996 and 997.1 GT3 numbers. Money, and you can go get a car that is cooler than all of them. Just insanely fun car. Now I get it. I understand that this is a kit car and it's not comfortable and it doesn't have AC and all this other stuff. But just if you could afford $150 for a track toy or a vintage toy, the way Tony enjoys his 904 that has just a 3.2, this is unbelievable value for the money. I'm shocked it went for that little.
Again, Tony is 80.
Yeah, and I'm shocked that they accepted 135. If you had told me he was going to hammer at 135, I would have said FTS. So JP,
What does him being 80 have to do? That makes it seem like he would be less likely to like it. Actually,
Guys at 80 don't want that car.
Yeah, he loves
my
it.
point.
He loves his.
I know.
So
Tony's a misnomer.
There's a couple Yahtzees shared. Dave and Brian both got Yahtzees. So congratulations.
Well done to those
Dave and
guys.
Brian.
Nice work. Yeah.
Look, the thing about this car, I'm so bummed I didn't get a chance to buy them with you guys, but really the closest thing to this car I think you can get out there anywhere in the world, not just on the market, but just in general, is one of these. Do you guys know what this is?
What is that?
This is the Sarcopod. This is the closest thing I can think of buying to that GTS 904.
JP, was it made by
suicide pod? This is the
made
thing.
by Jaguar?
I'm trying to tell you what it is. Shut the F up. This is a suicide pod from the Netherlands. This is, you pay money, you get in this thing, and you're dead. That 904 is terrifying, and it may as well be a suicide pod. And here's the thing about the Sarco suicide pod: the Porsche Club people will love these because look, they have them in different colors. Porsche Club loves PTS, so you can get your Sarco Death Pod in either racing purple, viola, or orange, or whatever. Yeah,
I'll have mine with the Kevorkian package.
Yeah, exactly. Can you guys see the sticker? Look at this. Look,
Could I have
there's
mine in
the
Mexico
diff,
blue?
and it's the same damn car. I'm
Montezuma's Revenge.
sure you can get a Mexico blue one.
I want a Mexico blue one.
Yeah,
JP, is it like it's like Futurama? You get in and it kills you?
Yes, this is a real thing, guys. This exists.
JP,
It's total Star
JP,
Trek.
how on
I
earth
love
did
it.
you hear about that thing? I've never seen that before. That is the craziest pull you've ever.
Look, I've got
4
the hot
years.
takes. That's why people tune in.
Whoa.
That's why people
That
watch
was-
Bid Nerds. It's
that was dark for
who
Christmas
gives a
time.
shit about the horsepower
Yeah.
or how many, it's GT3 power to weight ratio, blah, blah, blah. I mean, can you kill yourself? Would you rather pay $20 to kill yourself in this Sarcopod? Right? And, the thousands of dollars you got to pay to go to the Netherlands or wherever it is that you got to do, or just buy that car, buy this for $85,000 or $135,000 and just
Wrap it
try to
around a
drive
tree.
it anywhere and you're going to die. So there it is.
It is
You're
a
gonna have lot more
Sarcopod,
fun.
you're
It
right.
is a Sarcopod of cars.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you guys think
Holy
of
God,
my
that was
like my green
comparison?
car.
Good take.
Let me know what you guys think. I do like that purple Sarcopod. That was kind of pretty.
That's
It had
what your
lights inside.
GT3RS was.
Yeah,
violet,
like the
right?
RS, ultraviolet.
Yeah.
Ultraviolet Sarco.
Sarco.
All right, guys, let us know what you think of the results of this 904, and let's move on. We
Sarco.
We got a long way to go. A lot of predictions to make, and we still have predictions to cover. What was the next one on the list, Michael D?
All right, JP, we're going to check in on the 1999 Ferrari 360 Modena with the 6-speed manual.
Great, let's do it quick.
Our car has just 32,000 miles out of Denver, Colorado. The big news here, JP, is the addition of several Challenge Stradale styling points, like the front air dam, the rockers, the rear grille, the BBS wheels. This car has the gated shifter, and of course, then they did the Challenge style Ferrari carbon buckets, which are unbelievably comfortable car. John, our car has fair miles. It's good condition. It's all black, an attractive colorway, and it's very close to the car that Ferrari should have made, because Challenge Stradales, all 1,300 of them in 2004, only came with the single manual gearbox, the F1 gearbox. They should have made that car with a gated 6-speed manual. So somebody took a gated 6-speed manual and made it look like a Challenge Stradale. It's not the first one made, but this is one that's available now. JP, I remember you liking the assets and the presentation of the car. And like I said, all black. That's very user-friendly and fair miles. Car's got a clean Carfax. This car could do well. So with that in mind, JP, looking at the values here, I got to find it on my list. According to Classic.com, a 99 manual 360 is $111,500. I took the over at 136. You jumped over me at 139, 360. Rami, what do you think? The car Ferrari should have made.
Ferrari should have made. Yeah, totally.
What do you think?
Yeah, 138 was going through my head.
138 is not a bad guess.
Yeah, it's a cool car.
It turned out to be.
Hold on. Before we get to the number, Andy, what do you think that car bring? You got a microphone right by you, so get in there. I know you guys can't see Andy, but he's going to hop in anyway.
I'm going to pull a number completely out of my butt.
Closer to the mic.
I'm going to say 145 for that one.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Good number.
Buddha?
130.
Buddha says 130.
Buddha
Okay.
says 130. And have more wine. Have more wine.
Yeah, and of course, Buddha, who hasn't said anything, would have won. Our car hammered for $133,000, JP, where it sold on 34 bids. You talk about a turning point in the market. I don't know what we're turning from or towards, but that seems like a fair value for a nice car. It's hard to imagine that if that car were all original, it'd be worth any more. So I feel like the guy squeezed every penny out of a modified Ferrari. And the Ferrari market, JP, is the only market more finicky than the used Porsche 911 market. So what do you think of that result?
I like Philip Craig. He says, if I had the money, I'd rather have the Modena than the 904. I don't agree with you, Philip, but I think it's a good question. What about the rest of the panel? 904 or the Modena? Same money. What do you think? Deeb, what do you think?
Oh, man, I'd probably take the Modena, believe it or not.
Yeah?
Yeah, just because it'd be easier to live with.
How about you, Rami?
I definitely would. I agree with Deeb 100%.
The Modena? You would care what's more easy to live with?
I'm kidding.
Have you seen your
I'm
cars?
kidding. Jeez, JP. Wow.
Andy, how about you? Modena or 904?
No, 904. Come on.
Okay,
man.
good, correct. That is the correct answer. Buddha.
It's not going to be your only car.
Buddha doesn't get a microphone. He's giving the wrong answer.
Rami's real answer was the suicide pod. He wants to just sit in
I want
that.
the sarcopod.
He wants to be able to tell girls he sat in one and survived. It couldn't kill me.
The 904 is a sarcopod.
The
That's my whole
sarcopod tried to
point.
kill me and I won.
All right, guys. What do you think of the results of that transmission swapped Modena? I do think that was a pretty good value because, like I said on the last episode, there is not a Ferrari that exists brand new that I would rather have than that car.
JP,
Now,
can we put a steering wheel and some wheels on the sarcopod?
it's called the 904 GTS from Beck.
No, I just want to do the sarcopod.
The answer is it's already been done. All right, and most everyone in the nerd herd is saying 904.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Philip, you are.
They're all
being
writing
disagreed
Santa
with.
right now. Buy me a Beck.
Yeah, just put the standalone fuel injection on the 904 is what Sahan says. Hey, welcome Sahan. All
Hey,
right, guys,
Sahan.
What's up?
let us know what you
Hello.
think of the results of that Ferrari. And there was still another prediction we made on the last episode. What's the next car?
But wait, there's more.
Yeah,
Chris
how much
Carbine sent us this. Let me pull it up again. 1968 Mercedes 280 SL, what we used to call the Pagoda. Our car was listed. Here we go, Buddha. It's listed out of Murrells Inlet, South Carolina, showing 20,000 miles. It's a 4-speed automatic transmission. It does have a hard top, but as they restored the car and repainted it, redid the interior, redid the top, they did not restore the hardtop. So the hardtop has no windows and no headliner and is the old olive green, not the new olive green, which is a whiff. And again, it's not a manual transmission car either. So no fitted luggage, I think, was one of them, JP, and I think the last one was the Beck radio or something like that. Those are the 4 options you're looking for in a Pagoda. This one's kind of debunked of all of them in a way. So kind of an interesting car. According to Classic.com, our friends over there say that a 68 Pagoda that would probably have a manual or something is going to be a $99,000 conversation. John, I thought this car could get to $79,000. You took the under at $65,000. Rami, what do you think this car would have done?
My God.
Refreshed, but not done all the way, and it's an automatic, and there's a lot of them in the market.
Is Charlie's Angels driving that car? No. Honestly, it's just tragic. It's a tragic car. I just can't. I don't know. $35,000.
Okay. Andy, what do you think?
I'll go to 60 on it because
60 is fair. Yeah.
automatic and not finished.
All right.
Right.
Okay, Buddha, this car is from South Carolina. I know you have an opinion.
Yeah, I put 72 on the previous.
72?
72.
Inlet is where my dad lived.
Is that right?
Really? Your dad's from there?
The average bid from the nerd herd was $71,625. So there you
Jeez
go.
Louise. Well, 72,000. You just got yourself a Yahtzee. Believe it or not, JP, you guessed 65. I guessed 79. You and I were both $7,000 off. I'm the over, so you're the winner. But Buddha takes home the Yahtzee. Did anybody else in the herd actually get a Yahtzee besides Buddha? Kenneth, good job, Kenneth.
Wow.
So well done, guys. You guys guessed it right. It's sold for that number, 72,000, 19 bids. He took the money. I'd say that's a fair deal all day long. The part that chaps me on that one, JP, is you invest all the money to bring this car back and you don't finish the job. I think he left, if it cost him another $2,500 to paint the top or even 3 or 4, he would have got 10 more for the car, in my opinion.
Probably ran out of money.
It'd be 80 to 85. That's possible too. And I don't know how long ago he did it. I didn't read the listing, but it just bums me out that he stopped before the finish line and then didn't get the full reward.
That's
What do you think?
pretty much everybody in life.
Good.
Well, on the last episode, I mentioned that I think this is the perfect old folks' home car for the old man who's going around. Yeah, he's passing around the STDs because he's the only guy that's still alive. It's 10-1, old guy to hot women.
Is that Jing?
Yeah, this car is
Ching.
like
He's totally a Ching. Picking up the Cougars.
yeah. When AJ
And the
retires,
Sabertooth.
maybe he'll be cool enough. He'll just wrap it in like Dayglow green or
JP,
something.
I like Sabertooth. There's nothing wrong with the
Dude,
Sabertooth.
this car is a it's like a Wes Anderson movie. This car, I
Totally
do love
is.
the car.
It is.
And
That's a
I don't
great
care
analogy.
that it's not right. I don't care that it's not complete. Who cares? The great thing about this car is it's just gonna be driven. So I mean that hardtop. Who cares if it's complete? It's just gonna sit in the garage.
It's going to be
No one's ever gonna
driven and
use it.
bore
So-
you to death.
Yeah, I mean, you know what this car is perfect for. All kidding aside, it's an island car. For anyone who lives
A
in a
Long Island
community.
car?
No, specifically. No, I specifically mean someone who lives on it. Like in Seattle, you've got the San Juan Islands. A lot of people have vacation homes in areas where you have to take a ferry to get to the little island, or Bainbridge Island or something like that, or Nantucket or Maine or whatever. Some place where you just want to leave a car. So you've got your normal car, you take the ferry to your vacation house, and then you just have the island car, and it just sits in a garage, and you bring it out for a leisurely drive, because this thing doesn't really belong on the freeway or going around corners. It's just to look cool to go down to the beach and
Or the
go
general
and get
store.
some, go
Go get
some
a-
cod.
I
or
see what
something.
you're
Jar of
saying.
milk and a baguette.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. A place with like seagulls and foghorns. I
Right,
got it.
exactly.
Yeah.
You have
Lighthouses.
Yeah, lighthouses. Yeah, perfect.
The kind of place that Andy lives when he's not in Las Vegas. He has a cabin out in Pennsylvania somewhere or something in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, near State College, right by Penn State.
Your State College, really?
Yeah.
Ah,
See, that's what I'm
Another
saying.
place in Utah. You know.
All right. If you guys are new
No
to the
lighthouses
show,
in State College.
a lot of new folks watching the show tonight in the Nerd Herd. Welcome, you guys. If you're new to the show, if you're watching right now, you're seeing this live, you're like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
Disregard us. We're all idiots. Introduce yourself in the
Especially
live
me.
comments.
The prisons are empty.
And you are going to introduce yourself to the Nerd Herd, a bunch of great people. That's where the true talent and where the true knowledge is in the comment section, the live comment section. We call that lovingly the Nerd Herd. And we thank you
Cousin
guys in the Nerd Herd. And while you're in there, make sure you hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe. We always have way more people watching than we have thumbs up. So let's get some more thumbs up so we can grow the herd. And we're going to go to a commercial real quick, and we'll be right back with predictions. So stick around. We're just getting started, guys. Hey, guys, I got to tell you about our friends Godden Porsche of Las Vegas and Godden Classic. If you're looking for a new Porsche or a classic, you got to call our friend Steve at Godden. This guy. Save yourself the hassle of screwing around with all the auctions like we always talk about, and just talk to Steve. He'll find you the classic Porsche you're looking for. Godden Porsche of Las Vegas. Hey guys, you're probably looking at your watch and wondering if Bid Nerds will ever end. So you better talk to our friends at Our Smiths to make sure your Rolex, Tag Heuer, AP, or any fine timepiece is in tip-top shape. Our Smiths, fine Swiss repair. All right, we are back. Our Smiths is rocking it, guys.
Anthony.
Yay.
Anthony!
Oh, hey,
out of
so
focus.
it looks like we're out of
Whoa.
focus
Buddha, can you fix me?
here. Buddha, hit the autofocus button on the lens.
Here.
It says AF. There
AF.
you go.
it says AF.
There we go. Click on
like
the
it.
AF and then hit the big round button on the top.
Bid Nerds AF.
It's just a filter, like all the kids are doing these days.
There you go.
Okay,
Yeah, now he's
never
just
mind.
looking cool.
All right, Deeb
Buddha, what are you
and
doing?
Rami talk about something.
All right, so
Cheers.
Deeb, where did we go last night?
We went to Harlow and had steak
Yes.
with buddy Chris and
Yep.
Marissa, his wife. And then you took me to a cultural learnings of the United States where we went and saw all the immigrants at Jing.
At Jing.
Yeah, the Cougars
Jing.
fresh
Oh,
off
the
the
Cougar
boat. Yeah,
Jing.
that was
Oh my
great.
God,
That place was hilarious.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Pure comedy.
Yeah, and if I walk right in and some girl's like, Romy?
Romy, I have a
And,
girl
"Oh,
for you.
Romy, I've got
Tatiana,
a
she
flight.
just
Tatiana."
arrived last night. And I'm like, is she unpacked? Like,
Does she speak English?
yes.
Like,
So
hopefully
that's
not.
So funny. Whole
All
lot of
right,
women.
guys, welcome back to the show. We're going to make some predictions. The big question tonight is, are we looking at a turning point in the classic car market? We are going to look at some interesting listings tonight and see if we can speculate what these particular cars, what will happen with their auction results. Let's get to it. Michael Deeb, what's the first car on the list?
All right, JP, I put up 4 cars, and much to my surprise, you picked the Italian one as our headliner. On Cars and Bids right now, JP, is a 2020 Alfa Romeo 4C. This particular car is a special edition. So this 4C Spider is called the 33 Stradale Tributo. Much to Alfa's credit, JP, and the thing I want to dive into about this car is how many manufacturers like Volkswagen or, I don't know, anybody, they make a special edition, but then they make like 2,000 or 3,000 of them, and they wonder why the special edition doesn't bring more money in the secondary market. Alfa showed some restraint here by only creating 33 of the 33 Stradales for the U.S. market. Our car on Doug DeMuro's site, listed out of Irvine, California, is number 10 of the 33. And JP, it's a really cool car. I don't know that you get more performance, but you get a special colorway. Let's see if I can find the number. The name of the color is Rosso Villa d'Este Tricoat. So it's like a dark candy apple red. It got gold painted wheels and a tobacco interior. The cars are kitted with their Brembo brake kit and their summer tire. And then you get the Akrapovic exhaust. So the things that are optional on ordering a 4C coupe or Spider came standard on this car. But the fact that they only made 33 and they all look the same is kind of cool. And now, as it's been, a couple years down the road since they built and sold these cars, JP, I'm fascinated to find that these cars are now bringing substantially more money over MSRP, let alone the diminished priced in the secondary market for just a standard 4C. These cars are actually bringing collector money. So a small bright spot in the dwindling and terrible Alfa Romeo market in North America and the United States, but a cool car all the same. And we've got Buddha in-house. I'm sure Buddha's seen more than one of the 4Cs on the track. These are kind of fun little cars. 4-cylinder turbo, about 260 horse, 280 torque. So they can get out of their own way. They're lightweight. And JP, I don't know if you know anything about these, but these are full carbon fiber monocoque cars where the bulkhead and the engine are all stressed members. The production of this car, if you watched it, you would think they were building a McLaren supercar instead of an $80,000 budget Alfa sports car. It's completely over-engineered, which is shocking that it didn't come from Germany, but rather came that way from Italy. Very ornate, a lot of flair. I don't know that I like the way they sound. The 4-cylinder turbo doesn't make a beautiful exhaust, so when you're behind one, they don't sound right to me. But that's a small quip for a car that can really, really handle. This is a car that I'm not saying it could truly chase Jason's racetrack Lotus, but it's in that same lightweight, minimalist, short wheelbase, fun to drive thing. I love that Alfa only made 33 of them. I'm kind of proud of them for that. And I'm happy for the guys that own these because it's a good turn on their investment, which you can't say a lot about modern Italian cars outside of Ferrari. So here's the 33 Stradale Tributo, a homage to the 33 road and race car. JP, I don't know if the 33 Stradale from the late 60s comes to mind, but it is, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful cars ever made. Maybe you can pull one up on the computer if you get a minute with your thumbs. But JP, talk to me about what you like.
Original?
Yeah, the original one.
Yeah.
Stunning. Small 2.6 liter V8.
Yes.
They race that motor in sports car and in sort of a group thing. So there was like a road car version of it, and then they put that motor in like cars that raced against like the 917 and stuff like that. Cool. They had a 33 that raced. So the 33 is kind of a homage name to Alfa, but when they had to make a road car to homologate that motor for racing, the road car that they built looks like the Dino prototype. It's one of the most sensually beautiful cars that's ever come out of the 1960s. And while this car doesn't look like that, it's a homage to that car, and I'm proud of them for only making 33 of them. So, JP, take it away. You picked an Italian car for our poster car. What do you see when you look at this?
Just an absolute abject fail. I want to love this car. It was so close.
It looks like the Lotus you love.
Well, right, exactly. This is what the next generation of Lotus Elise should have been. They totally failed with the, what was it? What's the one after the Elise? The
Evora.
Evora. It was just a hideous looking car. But at least they made manual versions of that. This car, they did all this cool stuff, and they just like, this is why Stellantis is probably going to go out of business.
Yep.
Because this is a Stellantis car. They spent all this money, all this development, all this time, and they don't put 3 pedals in this goddamn car. There's a reason why a Lotus, not a Lotus Elan, but a Lotus Elise, from 2005 is still worth 40 or 50 grand if it's a nice shape.
Yep.
These cars are going to continue to just plummet in value because they decided to put a flappy paddle on it. I don't care if it's faster. I don't care if it's better, defined better. This car looks like it should be absurdly fun, and they took the most fun thing possible away from it by not offering this car with 3 pedals. Rami, what do you think of this?
I agree with you. JP and Deeb and I were talking today about a company in I believe you said it's Texas,
Houston,
right?
yeah.
Houston that takes old cars, that are automatic,
And
right?
it does
and
manual
they put
swaps.
a manual swap in.
Yeah.
So like they've missed the boat. It's like electric cars. They're all going to be worthless soon because no one's going to want them. This car it's interesting, and it's Jeremy Clarkson's favorite car, supposedly. But who cares about that?
Yeah.
But
Is he still alive?
I think he's on, I think he's on a farm.
He obviously can't have the roof on. His head's got to stick 2 feet
No, he had
above
the
this
roof
thing.
off when he was reviewing it. But it's an interesting car. I like it. And I agree with you about a little bit of the homage to the 33, right? It's cool.
Yeah.
It's very cool. And it's a nice car, and it probably drives great, but it needs a manual. I agree with you, JP. It needs a manual.
Well,
I just don't
Andy's in the
understand.
house. Andy, you have an R8 with 3 pedals. What do you? I only bring that up because it's mid-engine cars. Obviously, they're not really in the same league. But what do you think of this car? And sorry, guys, we don't have a camera for Andy, but we can hear him.
No, this car, just imagine the carbon fiber monocoque.
Yeah.
With that lightweight, simplify and add lightness, all that with 3 pedals. I mean, this thing would just be... I would rather this than the 904 if it had 3 pedals.
Better than 904!
Nice callback.
It is kind of a sarcopod. That's
burn.
true.
Sick burn.
All right.
33 sarcopods, please.
Yeah. All right. Deeb, what's this thing going to bring?
All right, JP, believe it or not, on the MSR on this thing, a base 4C is a $67,000 car. Okay. This 33 Stradale package, which was probably sounded gluttonous at the time, was a $12,000 option, bringing the MSRP to our car to $83,000. That's relevant because the average selling price for a 4C Spider in the secondary market is like $65,000. But I took Classic.com's data, JP, and found 4C 33 Stradales that have hammered in the last 12 months. And the median price of those 4 cars is $141,750. Now, JP, 2 of those cars went for like $155 and only had like 100 miles on them. Our car has 2,400 miles. So despite being in excellent condition, of the 4 results we've seen in the secondary market at auction on 33s, this is the highest mileage car of them all. So with 141 as the median, but this one having a few more miles, and let's face it, it's on Doug DeMuro's rather than BAT, which is just a slightly smaller audience, and I don't know how much they would pay premium for the weirdest of the weird cars. I'm going to just temper my bid a little bit. I'm going to go $133,000 and say that it sells if it gets that number. John, I should prep you with the fact that our car is currently going to close in 2 days from now. So it's going to close on Tuesday. JP, we're sitting at $108,000 on 25 bids. So it's getting good action. Got a few days to go. And again, if you go and shop it against the comps are strong because they're slightly lower miles. So I think that's going to bring the value up. I think there's still room to go. And again, JP, this car sold for $83,000. It's 4 or 5 years old, and it's going to go for 50% more money. I know you say that, like, again, 4Cs are bunk, but this little, if you have one of these 33, I think you've got a little investment grade contemporary Italian car that doesn't have a prancing horse.
What was your number again?
I don't know, 133.
All right, I'm gonna go 113.033. I just don't. I mean, you mentioned it, Deeb. It's on Doug DeMuro's site. He gets the weirdos, but the weirdos don't have the money. I just don't think they're going to get that late stage rally that we see it time and time again with Doug. So that's where I'm at. Deeb, what or not Deeb,
How
but
come
Robbie,
every
what do you
time
think?
it's on Doug's site, it's less money? Why is that?
That's because he doesn't have the audience.
He's just,
it's
okay.
that simple.
Is that what
He
it
wears
is?
cargo shorts and
'Cause-
printed
okay.
T-shirts.
He's a weirdo.
He's like this. It's like, okay. I say 97,000.
Well, it's higher than that already.
Yeah, it's at 108.
It's at 108, so it can't go backwards. We'll give Rami a second chance. Since
Okay,
it's,
because
it's
I'm
his
really
studio.
paying attention.
Yeah.
Probably like I don't know. I tell you this thing, like 120.
All right. Andy, where are you at?
I was gonna say 120. I was gonna have the low one in the room, and then you went lower than that.
Well, Buddha,
me a number,
Buddha is
Andy.
in the
Give me
chat
a
right now.
Buddha's
He's
in
in
the
the
chat.
room. I think he hit 111 or something like that.
121.
Oh, 121. All right, guys. All right, what do you guys think in the Nerd Herd? The Nerd Herd's got numbers all over the place. 135 looks like the highest number in the herd from what I'm looking at. Some
see
people
85.
are, there's Gerd's at 137. Shit, I'm going to be wrong.
All right, yeah.
Gerd's
Thank
the
you, Gerd.
ringer.
Gerd is good.
Gerd's the adult, not in the room.
Brian
Got
is-
lots of gird.
Brian Leedon's playing by Rami's rules and at
I got
85. Bro, it's at 108 already, guy. So
I like that guy.
Yeah, have a drink. I need another drink. All right, we're going to
Lord.
move on to the next car.
Please.
So not
We're
interested
gonna
in
let's see
that
here.
thing.
So let's get Andy. Why don't you take Rami's seat real quick because we're gonna do Andy's car now since we're a little short on time and I want to make sure we get to it.
Okay. All right, JP, I'm going to introduce Andy's car. Andy was representing a pair of cars, and John, as you know, we did the coupe, the AMG SLS coupe, that Andy unfortunately had to run twice to get the number, but then it got there. And then Andy has been holding, and JP, you and I think Lee went out and shot this car out at Red Rock. We're talking about a 2012 Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG Roadster, just a standard Roadster, not a GT. The car does have 14,000 miles. And it's this beautiful JP. It's called Designo. What is it called? AMG Monza Gray Mango Paint. I look at it and see sort of like a tobacco color metallic. And I just got to say that the car looks fantastic in that colorway. And the shots that you guys produced to help Andy get this car to market are some of the best we've seen. I actually think the car looks better than the coupe. The coupe was, and I'm not detracting it for that, but it was like just silver. But this car has like a little flair to it, a little flavor. It looks stunning. I know, Andy, I've been down this road. I heard you had to fight with BaT because they wanted to put like a real standard shot up and not one of the hero shots. Right. So I'm glad you won that argument. The car looks great. The presentation is fantastic. Tell us about the car. You've driven it. What do we need to know about it as it comes to market?
This car grew on me more than I expected. I mean, the Gullwing's the Gullwing. I smacked my head on the door every time I got in and out of it. It's a beautiful car, fast as all get out. This is the same car, just without a top. And driving it that day in these pictures around the Red Rock Loop twice, I mean, I drove it home with the top down. On the highway, it's a dual clutch 7-speed. So on the highway, you two clicks from your fingers and it breaks the rear end loose at highway speeds. I mean, it's got the same cojones as the Gullwing.
Yeah.
And then when I saw the video that JP produced of it,
Yeah.
I have watched that video. I can't even tell you. If you look how many views, probably half of them are me, because that is just like a hero video for that car.
Yeah.
And you knocked it out of the park with the creative rather.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited that we blew past the reserve
Already.
Yeah.
Okay, spoiler alert. All right,
Yeah.
let's
I put that on the listing.
Yeah.
I put
and
it
it
on
got
there.
a bid since we've sitting here. When you sat down
Yeah.
tonight, it was at 108, and we're at 110 now. And
Yep.
we're not getting into the numbers. I want to ask you, Andy, just since you own an R8 Spider, and I know that car's manual, so it's not exactly apples to apples, but what we're talking about are like really cool supercars with high performance envelopes. You get the romance of like complete roadster driving. Take the engagement of the shifting out of the equation and just talk about holding a steering wheel, driving this car, how it feels like to be received by everybody else in traffic. Is this car on par with your incredible supercar?
I don't think people look at it the same way as the R8, because the R8 has it just exudes that sex from that era.
Yeah.
This looks someone who didn't know cars could confuse this with like a newer Mercedes GT, just something a little bit more pedestrian.
Like, is that the new SL?
Yeah, exactly,
yeah.
exactly. This thing though drives much more brutally than the R8. I expected driving and I have a V8 R8, and I sold on BaT for another client a V10 R8 6-speed manual a couple years ago, and I expected this to be more Mercedes kind of cushy like to drive it around.
Refined.
This thing is brutal compared to the R8.
Yeah, this has like 140 more horsepower than yours, right? So it really does.
And rear-wheel drive only. And
is your car all-wheel drive?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yep.
gotcha. Very cool, very cool. So, JP, it's real interesting. I was surprised when you kind of shared with me that BaT sort of hammered Andy into a small reserve. We're obviously over the reserve. We're into the 6-figure range, but I still think there's a lot of blue sky, like figuratively and literally above this car. I think it's going to do well. It shows well. It's hard to imagine, and I say this with a tinge of sacrilege, but like 14,000 miles on one of these cars to the average demographic of the guys that bought them new is kind of high miles. There are, I imagine, a third or half of these cars are probably still sitting in the original owners' garages on a battery tender that go out and get in a service and new tires every other year. That probably have like less than 2,000 miles on them. So this one is about as used as you'll find on the Roadsters. And it's also interesting, JP, in most cases with like Corvette and Mercedes, convertibles bring more money than coupes. But when the coupe of your car happens to have gull wing doors, that's not the case. So I was surprised at the value of these cars. It's a little more than half, but the gull wing version, the hardtop versions actually bring substantially more money, 6 figures more than the median price on these. So JP, you've been in this car, you've seen it in person. What were your impressions?
It is a beautiful car. I am glad that I didn't get a chance to drive it because I'm sure I'd really want the thing.
Yeah.
I'm with Andy. I like the convertible better than the coupe. That's not a big surprise. I'm a cab guy in general, but I think the lines are weird on the coupe, especially the rear notch. I love that the doors are the gull wing on the coupe, but this car is just, this is a fast cruiser. This thing is designed to just roll down the boulevard and be badass, and it does that. So I think drop top is the way to go. This is definitely a Vegas car cruising down the Vegas Strip, and this you were just with your best girl, you were balling. What's it going to bring?
And here, real quick, here's the thing with the gull wing. The gull wing's only the gull wing when you're stopped getting gas. The gull wing's only the gull wing in the parking lot.
When you're bringing it onto the golf course at Red Rock Casino for AutoFest in September, that's when it's a gull wing.
I have a question.
You drive
Rami has a question.
Yeah, go, Rami, go.
The AMGs were, these in particular, the SLSs, were all built in the AMG factory. Am I correct?
Yeah, it's got the signature
Not
on the
Mercedes.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So these are the same as the gull wing.
Yes.
So
exactly.
it's a totally different drive,
right?
Totally different suspension system, drivetrain, everything, all made in house at AMG.
Yeah.
That's why it's getting what it's getting. It's a sick car.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, it's a great car, and if
it's a supercar.
And if you've driven one of these, it surprises the hell out of you.
Yeah.
It handles well. It's twitchy.
Yes,
tail,
it is.
Right?
Yeah.
Look at those photos.
And it's
pretty.
just a fabulous car, and like, people don't understand until you drive it. Like, you're like, oh my god, what you're getting for your money is so good.
Yeah,
It's
between
so
this
good.
and the gull wing, like I said, this thing has grown on me much. It surprised me how much it's grown on me. But again, the gull wing's only a gull wing when you're sitting still. This, you can put the top down and listen to it, and it's...
Or you could just drive with the gull wing doors open.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
those-
Hey, hold on a second.
those
Hold on.
stupid chicks on
Rami,
Instagram.
you owned an AMG GT convertible for a short amount of time.
Yes.
How do you compare that car to this car? Because I think a lot of people are kind of confused. Like, when they first came out, it's like, wait, they're two different cars. Because in a lot of ways, if you don't, to the untrained eye, what the hell's the difference? I mean,
right.
So what is the difference between the two cars?
The difference is this is a better car.
Well, okay, but why?
It's a better car because it's built,
hand-built.
It's hand built.
Yeah.
Right. It's the build quality. Like, that was the thing I noticed when I got in it. I couldn't believe the build quality, like the level when you just even sitting in the car, you're like, my God, the build quality in this car is crazy. It doesn't creak, it doesn't make noises. Everything is buttoned up right. The panel gaps are perfect. Like, everything's done right. Whereas like the GT I had was not like that. It creaked and it moved and it did all these crazy things. And I know when you're driving that car, it doesn't do that.
No, and this, even the convertible of this, when you slam the door, I mean, you know,
Yes,
it's
it's
cliche,
solid.
but that it sounds like a vault. The door on this thing, when you slam it, even though the window goes up and down a half an inch, something like that, it is the most solid slamming door I've ever experienced in my life.
Oh, what about your 911? Do you have a 911?
I've had 911. There's no comparison. Come on. No. And I'm a Porsche guy, and even
I
wearing
know.
my Porsche shirt.
I
but-
see that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, seriously though, I mean, look, here is an AMG GT, right?
Yep.
And then you compare that to, sorry, wrong car, guys.
Look like your clown nose.
little
Look like your
pretty.
clown nose,
Was that-
JP. That was funny.
Was that your sneaker? Was that your sneaker? What was that?
So compare this car,
the
the SLS, to the AMG GT.
Yeah, look at the front nose on the AMG GT.
Well, I know that there's
Plasticky.
obviously, but really
Everything,
is it-
yes, it's plastic. I had the car. I know.
No,
it's
no.
plasticky. It doesn't have. You get it in an SLS, it's a totally different car. I'm telling you, it is. The build quality, the quality of the material, the engine alone it's better.
Way
Better
more
car.
engineering went into the SLS, and they built them in far fewer numbers.
Exactly.
And for a very short period of time, they made them over like 3 or 4 years. JP, they're still making. They've got a new version of the AMG GT now. So it really is just a production car, and that's what
right.
Rami started with. This car was built at AMG. These cars were built by hand, and they were developed and engineered to a much higher level. If you go drive that AMG GT convertible, that car is going to flex and twist over your bumpy
Yes.
roads. This car will feel like the entire car is chiseled out of a solid piece
Granite.
of metal. Like it was all like, I don't know.
No, it's
my
amazing.
God, yeah,
It's like
really is.
granite.
It's
You're
special.
right.
It's special.
solid.
There's no
All right,
cow
what's it gonna
shake.
bring? What's it
There's
gonna bring?
No cow shake on this thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you, Andy. All right. According to Classic.com, a 2012 Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG Roadster is a $139,000 car, which is shocking because, Andy, didn't we sell your car for like $265 or $285 the other day?
The Gullwing was 161. Remember that they paid the
So,
difference.
but closer to 200. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, so very interesting. Again, these are base. These are not GTs. And then, of course, Rami, they made a black series of the.
What's
of
it
the
gonna bring,
coupe.
guys? What's
Yeah.
it gonna bring? We're getting late.
So I think this car, it's currently sitting at $110,000. It's got 1 day to go. Closes tomorrow, 17 hours. So set your clocks. JP, I think this car is going to bring $128,000.
All right, I'm gonna go big. I'm gonna say 135.
And that's
And
in play.
pass it on.
Andy,
What's that?
Andy, give us a number.
It's
Your car? Okay,
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, what Rami? What do you
Rami,
think?
what do you got?
I think it's gonna. Yeah, it's gonna. I'm gonna say 140.
140,000, and
Yeah.
that's in play.
Food is at 128 here in the.
Oh, there you go. Okay, cool.
Voodoo 128.
All right,
All right.
cool.
Okay. All right, JP,
I
can we
love it.
run this? Can we run that
Yeah,
little
let's do it
Dodge?
real quick. Let us know
Okay.
what you guys think of the AMG GT, and we've got another, not AMG GT, but the SLS GT.
Yep.
Anyways, yeah. What's the next car, Deep?
JP, we're going to take a quick look at a 1991 Dodge Stealth RT Turbo with a 5-speed manual that is currently listed on Bring a Trailer as an alumni listing.
Hold on. We got an audio problem. Did we bump the cable?
That's it. 1, 2, 3.
Watch your cable.
Yeah.
Check.
All right, you're on. You're
Okay.
on. Okay.
RT Turbo with a
Wow.
5-speed manual that's running no reserve as an alumni listing at a Pompano Beach, Florida on Bring a Trailer. JP, in 2018, this car had 8,000 miles on it and it sold for $20,000. The car is being brought back to market. It still has just 8,000 miles on it and it's listed again. So,
You've got 3 minutes.
okay, very cool car. So, JP, without further ado,
How much is it gonna bring?
yeah, RT turbos sell for about $15,600. This car is incredibly low miles, and it's the highest spec in manual. It's a total Radwood car, and you can have fun with
What's
it.
it gonna bring?
I think it's going to sell for $35,000. JP, what do you think?
32. Passing it on to Andy. What do you think?
I'll say 30. That makes me happy because it's the same era as the Corrado.
Nice.
nice.
Rami,
Rami,
what do you think?
28.
28.
Where's
definitely
Buddha?
from a guy from Jersey?
18. Oh, Buddha's bearish. All right, there you go.
All right. Where's it at now?
It's at
Looking at
$18,000 right now.
18,000. Oh, this is a stick too. Oh,
Look at
that's
that thing.
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
right on.
manual.
Okay. Very good,
Cool car,
guys.
super clean. It's about the nicest one we've seen, JP, and we've covered a few over the years. So good luck to that guy. I think he's going to get a lot of money for that car.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that is a Bid Nerds episode. You can get merch at Aaron Water on Instagram. That's ERINN Water. on Instagram. She is making custom shirts and custom hats, so get over there right now and order your Bid Nerds hats and swag. It's not too late to get guys custom bracelets. We're going to be announcing we're going to do a tournament for an Anthony Vieira, an A Vieira watch coming up. So that's exciting. We're going to take the show out with Rami's F1 drive around the course in the roofs, since everybody liked that last week. We will see you guys Sunday night. Thanks, guys. Thanks for being here.
care.
Michael Deeb for being in the
Absolutely.
studio.
Thank you, Andy,
Thanks,
for
Rami.
coming. Rami,
Thank you,
thanks for
Andy.
opening up the
And
studio.
thanks,
Boom.
Buddha, for
Thanks for being here.
bringing the booze.
Buddhas.
Fudge.
All right,
Buddha's
we're out,
drinking
guys.
wine.
Let's watch
Lots of
the
fudge.
roof go around the track. It's awesome. Woo!